As you know, the President of the United States has committed more troops and an indefinite period of time to Afghanistan. We're going to take a look at why and a new music video for you, a song that I wrote, I admit it. I am Randall Terry, and this is Voice of Resistance. Welcome to the broadcast, friend. I hope that you are all right. The President of the United States has announced a major shift in U.S. policy, and it's a good one. And it is, of course, we're done nation building. Play those clips because I want to analyze this in depth.
I share the American people's frustration. I also share their frustration over a foreign policy that has spent too much time, energy, money, and most importantly, lives, trying to rebuild countries in our own image instead of pursuing our security interests above all other considerations. We are a partner and a friend, but we will not dictate to the Afghan people how to live or how to govern their own complex society. We are not nation building again. We are killing terrorists.
The purpose of war is, as the President said at the end of the second clip, my words, not his, the purpose of war is to kill the enemy. All right? St. Augustine said that the end of all just war is peace. But you can have peace without justice. In other words, if you surrender and there's peace, the fighting ceases, but you have surrendered to a tyrant, well, then you've got peace, but you don't have justice. What the President said is, we are done trying to make these nations in our image. And it's a good policy. Here's why. The Afghanistan people are 98%, 98.5% Muslim. All right? And it is a nation governed by Sharia law. In fact, if you would please, Jim Bob, if you would put up those two highlighted sections of the Afghanistan Constitution. So first of all, they say that they're an Islamic nation. And then look at that. They say that there will be no laws that are contrary to Islam. Okay? Now, for those of you who are not students of Islam or Sharia law, let me explain to you what that means. It means, for example, just two critical points. It means no freedom of religion and no freedom of the press. Sharia law, the religion of Islam, and Sharia law is the judicial and legal representation or jurisprudence, if you will, of the Islamic religion. Just like Christianity has laws that flow from it, from the Ten Commandments, etc., Islam has laws that flow from it. And part of the laws of Islam are that there will not be the public preaching of the gospel. There will not be freedom of press and the right to criticize Islam or elements inside of Islam. It's against the law. If I could go backwards just a minute, after 9/11, when we retaliated against Al-Qaeda and invaded both Afghanistan and Iraq, we then began the process of nation building, which was a colossal waste of blood and treasure. God, oh God, forgive us. God, have mercy and give strength to all the families who lost a loved one. I remember the day distinctly when I saw the copy of the new Iraqi Constitution, and it said that it was a Muslim nation and that its laws would be based upon Sharia law and Islamic jurisprudence. Then I knew we'd failed. Totally failed. Same thing with Afghanistan. We cannot export a Christian theocentric based democracy to a Muslim nation. It's not possible. Inherent to our jurisprudence, inherent to our courts, inherent to our laws is freedom of religion, freedom of speech. That means the right to practice any religion, to practice no religion. It means the right to criticize your government. It means the right to publicly disagree with a religion. I'm a devout Christian. I make no bones about it. Christianity is the truth. But under the laws of Western nations, which are anchored in Judeo-Christian ethics, we have the right to say, no, I don't agree. They don't have that in Afghanistan. And so President Trump is saying, we're not going over there to have some Potemkin village where we're going to say, oh, look, we've helped create a democracy. Democracy isn't the issue. It's the underlying philosophy of a democracy. It's the underlying law code, philosophy, religion, culture that matters. And in a Muslim culture based upon Muslim law, what you are going to have is what you have currently in Afghanistan. And we can't change that without changing Sharia law. I've got to take a break. Please don't go away. I want to keep developing this thought. But from where I sit in this chair, it's a great step forward to say, look, we're just going over there to kill terrorists. The end. Today, many so-called Christian intellectuals believe that the God of evolution used billions of years of death and destruction to evolve the bodies of the first human beings. Then, they simply declare the theory of evolution as fact to justify their unproven scientific fallacies. By the grace of God, more and more Catholics are rejecting this modern-day mythology in favor of the traditional doctrine of creation as recorded by the Bible and believed and taught by all the fathers and doctors of the Church. To find out how sound theology and natural science confirm the sacred history of Genesis, visit the Colby Center for the Study of Creation, and be sure to check out our bookstore, which has titles like I Have Spoken to You from Heaven, A Catholic Defense of Creation in 6 Days, and A Catholic Assessment of Evolutionary Theory. That's the Colby Center for the Study of Creation. Welcome back, friend. The president saying that we're going over there to kill people, bad guys, terrorists, is critical on a number of levels. Number one, we know where they are. So we're going to see over the next coming weeks and months whether or not the president gives the green light to kill terrorists who are with other civilians. We literally know because we can trace their cell phones. We can look at them from the sky with our satellites. We know where they're living. We know the neighborhoods where they are right now. And what President Obama said is we're not going to kill them because we might end up killing civilians that are around them. So we'll see if President Trump is saying if you harbor known terrorists, even if you're the family of the terrorist, then you run the risk of dying when we kill the terrorist. We'll see. That is called, in military speak, collateral damage. There is a valid discussion as to whether or not they are innocent civilians if they are part of the fifth column, if they're a part of the support network of the terrorist. If the wife is saying, yes, honey, stay with me because I believe in Allah and I believe in what you're doing and I don't want you to be killed, so just stay with me, well, then she, at that point, becomes a collaborator. We'll leave it at that. Let's play those clips. Well, no, first I want to talk about Pakistan. The president was very harsh on Pakistan because Pakistan is known to be harboring terrorists. Now, we killed Osama bin Laden in Pakistan. There were clearly government officials in Pakistan who knew that he was there, and they were sheltering him. Why? Because of their religion. The closest thing that you and I can come up with is when somebody has a conversion to Christ, they become an ardent follower of Jesus, and they want to become a missionary. Their conversion is so strong, so real, and they know that Christ is risen from the dead and that he has forgiven their sins, and they want to take the good news, the gospel, throughout the world. They want to spread the gospel of the kingdom, and they literally leave the comfort of their home and the comfort of their own nation, and then they begin to go to places that don't have the gospel or have very little of the gospel. That level of devotion is common to us, at least we see it in Christianity. That's the closest thing that I can explain to you about terrorism, and that is because in the model of how Islam was started and the model that Muhammad and his immediate companions left, they established Islam on the Arabian Peninsula through battles, through war, through offering to a city, you can accept Islam, profess that Muhammad is a prophet of God, and spare your lives, or we're going to wage war on you. That's the example that history records. And so these these men who we call terrorists are devout Muslims who are committed to establishing Islam in the whole world, to spreading Islam, and a part of how their story reads, because they read the history books, a part of how their story reads is the use of force. We call it terrorism, but to them it's not terrorism. To them it's simply an expression of their faith. So we're saying, look, we're not going over there to try and create a new nation. We're going over there to kill these terrorists. And as long as the government of Afghanistan is willing to let us come into their country in order to kill terrorists, then that's what we're going to continue to do. I want to run those clips. Run those clips for me really quick. I want you to just see what the president said, and then we unfortunately will have to take a break.
The consequences of a rapid exit are both predictable and unacceptable. 9/11, the worst terrorist attack in our history, was planned and directed from Afghanistan because that country was ruled by a government that gave comfort and shelter to terrorists. America will work with the Afghan government as long as we see determination and progress. However, our commitment is not unlimited, and our support is not a blank check. The government of Afghanistan must carry their share of the military, political, and economic burden.
So there you have it. We are committed to victory against terrorists. We're not committed to nation building. They've got to uphold their end of the bargain. And we're there because it was in Afghanistan that all of this began. You have to remember that. Afghanistan was a stronghold for al-Qaeda. And if we did pull out tomorrow, the president is right, like what happened in Libya and like what happened in Iraq. If we want a third leg of a base for Muslim terrorists to function, to get money, to train soldiers, to plan attacks, if we want a third base, then all we have to do is leave Afghanistan. But if we hope to make headway against Islamic terrorists, then we're going to have to stay there and we're going to have to kill them, because that's the only way. They won't surrender. And Islam gives them permission to lie about their surrender. That's why even the people that are being released from Guantanamo Bay, they go back into the field of battle, because that's what their religion explains to them to do. That's what their devotion demands of them. So I think that this is the appropriate response militarily and as far as our philosophy of what we're doing in Afghanistan and what we hope to achieve. I've got to take a break. I'm way over. Don't go away. I'll be right back. Have Muslim terrorists hijacked the peaceful religion of Islam? Or is there more to the story? The answer lies in the life of one man, Muhammad, the founder of Islam. Muslim terrorists see themselves inside a 1,400-year-old story, a narrative that focuses on specific events in the life of Muhammad. We are going to look at Muhammad's life using their most sacred literature. We will look at Muhammad at the Battle of Badr. We'll see him deal with those who mock him. We'll see the times when he used deception. We'll witness Muhammad's anti-Semitism. And yes, we will discuss Muhammad and his teachings concerning sex, slavery, and jihad. Friend, if you want to understand Islamic terrorism, get this series today. Welcome back to the program, friend. Deadly force and timing. Those are the two other issues that President Trump focused on, both of which signify a significant shift away from President Obama's position. Play both of those clips, please.
Core pillar of our new strategy is a shift from a time-based approach to one based on conditions. I've said it many times how counterproductive it is for the United States to announce in advance the dates we intend to begin or end military options. When America commits its warriors to battle, we must ensure they have every weapon to apply swift, decisive, and overwhelming force. Our troops will fight to win. We will fight to win.
Now, again, it's going to play out either in massive destruction to strongholds in the mountains of Afghanistan or killing people that are not terrorists. There's no way that you can have overwhelming force of this nature and not kill people that are standing around. We saw recently where upwards of 100 terrorists were killed when they bombed a mountain cap. They had bombed caves where they knew the terrorists were hiding, and they leveled it. And they knew approximately how many people were there, and they were all killed. They collapsed that mountain on them. But they also know villages. They also know towns. They also know places where people are hiding. And the question is, will they allow our military, will the president allow our military to just wipe out terrorists, even if it means killing civilians? And that's the question to be seen. And the issue is loss of American life. If you know that there's 8 terrorists hiding in a neighborhood, and the neighborhood knows it, you're either going to go in on the ground with boots on the ground, you're going to risk the lives of the Americans that are there, or you're going to use the technology that we have. We have the technology to kill all 8 terrorists and kill everyone around them. And that's the ethical question and the strategic question, because there will be a level of political fallout if the president chooses that route. And then the other issue is, he said, I'm not going to tell you when we're leaving. We're going to leave when we want to, based upon the conditions. Have we succeeded in our goals? Do we believe that the Afghani government is strong enough and that they're really pursuing the terrorists? Now, some 2,500 Afghani policemen and military people have been killed by fellow Muslims in the last couple of years. It's been a bloody time for them. We have not lost many American soldiers because we're playing it much safer. But if we're going to truly attempt to kill terrorists, then there's going to be a larger loss of American life. Unless, when the president said we're going to allow them to use overwhelming deadly force, if they mean that we're just going to kill terrorists where we know that they are, then we're going to see progress. And also, you have to remember Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the bombing of Dresden. Christian nations have done their best to not deliberately set out to kill non-combatants. Okay? But we have done it. We have done it. We have said, I know that we're going to kill innocent people, but we're going to do it because we have to kill the bad guys. We have to get a surrender. Winston Churchill ordered the sinking of French boats. He sent French sailors to the bottom of the ocean because when the French surrendered to the Nazis, they didn't give the Brits the boats like they were supposed to. And Churchill said, we're not going to let these boats fall into the hands of the Nazis. We will sink the ships to protect our country. And if French sailors die as a result, we grieve that. But we're not letting the Nazis get these boats. So you have to remember, friends, that is a part of the horror of war. But we also have to remember, these Muslim terrorists, they're committed to killing us or enslaving us. They're committed. And unless we have a level of commitment that answers theirs, we're not going to win. I've got to take a break. When we come back, a new song, a new music video. I think you're going to enjoy it. Don't go away. What Would Mohammed Do? Islamic Terrorism Explained is the best movie series documentary ever produced on the life of Muhammad and Islam. How do I know? Because it's what critics are saying. John Moore, radio host and author, said, I learned more from What Would Mohammed Do about Islam and Islamic terrorism than I've learned from everything I ever read and watched in my entire life. Best-selling author Dr. Bill Warner said, What Would Mohammed Do is the best movie series, TV production on the life of Muhammad and Islamic terrorism that has ever been produced. Friends, this is what the experts are saying. No one has ever done what we've done. I encourage you to get 1, 2, 4 copies. Call 304-289-3700. That's 304-289-3700, or order it at the address or the website that you see on the screen.
Friend, we have a series that will help you and those you love to have an impact on this country. It's called Insurrecta Nex. That's Latin for revolution against the killing of innocent people. This is the history, the philosophy, and the theology of social revolution in America. We look at the Stamp Act, the Boston Tea Party, the abolition of slavery, the abolition of child labor, women's voting rights, the civil rights movement. All of them have this in common: courage, sacrifice, dedication, and in-your-face tactics and rhetoric. That's one of the reasons that we've been losing the culture wars the last 40 years, is because the bad guys are using these tactics and we aren't. We will send you this 14-part TV series along with these manuals for students, a teacher's facilitator guide for only $40. Go to 304-289-3700, 304-289-3700.
I want to thank everyone who has been praying for us and helping us finish the Norma McCorvey video. We decided to entitle it A Cold Day in Hell, the conversion of Norma McCorvey, the Jane Roe of Roe versus Wade. Here is the music video / credits that appear at the end of the movie. I hope that you enjoy it.
Carnival queen, flashing your Texas grin, stumbling in the haze of a gypsy dream. Can't remember where you've been. You went round it, up and down, flashing inside of your skin. Paid the boatman's toll, nearly lost your soul as you came to the river's edge. It was a cold day in hell. Half-smoked packs of cigarettes, 6 shots and a pitcher of beer could not drown the haunting sound that echoed in your ear. Rachel weeping at the judgment seat, condemned at Herod's hall. The bloodstained ground shook beneath your feet when you saw Dagon fall. It was a cold day in hell. It was a cold, cold day in hell. Rage of the devil must have made him quiver. Scales on his spine must have felt a shiver. The angels laughed when you were delivered. It was a cold, cold day in hell. The dragon wailed because he failed to keep you chained and bound. The sirens too do not pass the room where your soul was found. The lion, the lamb, and the great I am kissed your fevered brow, healed your pain and washed the stain when you took your final bow. It was a cold day in hell. It was a stone cold day in hell. It was a cold day, a cold, cold day, a cold, cold day, a stone cold day. It was a cold day, cold, cold day, oh yeah. It was a cold day in hell.
Man, I'm so excited to have had such a great vocalist and great musicians on that. Whew! All right, I'll see you next time I see you. God bless you. Go and check out the website, acolddayinhell.tv.